Bonjour tout le monde. Je vais commencer juste à souligner que dorénavant, on va avoir les sessions du média juste une fois par semaine, soit les lundis, même heure. Nous avons envoyé un avis ce matin, mais juste pour vous rappeler. Donc, au niveau des chiffres qu'on a, ça va toujours bien. On est rendu à 447 cas de plus au niveau de Ontario et la plupart encore sont à Toronto. Ottawa avait 28. Nous, dans notre région, nous avons effectivement, je vais le mettre en français ici, là, nous avons 14 cas actifs. Nous avons ajouté cette fin de semaine 6 cas à Prescott Russell. Donc, toujours, la moyenne mobile est toujours bas, très bas. Donc, ça va bien dans ce sens-là. Au niveau des autres choses, des éclosions, on n'a aucune éclosion qui va bien. Ça va, c'est une bonne nouvelle. Encore, on a 2 à l'hôpital, 1 aux soins intensifs, beaucoup moins qu'avant. Et on reste avec 14 cas actifs à ce moment-là. Mais ça va toujours bien dans le bon sens. Autre chose aussi qu'on voit, c'est qu'au niveau des étapes 1, on commençait l'étape 1, le déconfinement qu'on avait, qui a commencé vendredi passé. Semble-t-il que ça va bien. Je pense que les gens ont du plaisir maintenant un peu plus. Il peut sortir un peu, il peut avoir des personnes, des rassemblements de 10 personnes. Je crois que ça, c'est la bonne direction, mais il faut qu'on fasse ça de façon doucement et de respecter les normes parce qu'on veut continuer d'avoir beaucoup moins de restrictions d'ici quelques semaines. Donc, on va aller dans étape 2, étape 3, etc. Et ceci se base sur 2 facteurs. Une, sur le facteur de respecter les mesures de santé publique et aussi de vraiment augmenter le pourcentage de personnes qui sont vaccinées 2 fois, qui ont reçu le série d'immunisation complète à ce moment-là. Donc, vous pouvez voir ici que maintenant, on est presque rendu à 140 000 personnes qui ont reçu le vaccin. Ceci représente à peu près 78 de la population 12 et plus, mais ça représente à peu près 83 à 84 des personnes, des adultes dans notre région. Donc, ça va très bien dans ce sens. Je voudrais parler un petit peu des vaccins. Donc, ça, c'est des bons chiffres que nous avons. Dorénavant, nous allons, pour le moment, local, je pense qu'on est à peu près comme la moyenne provinciale, 10 à 12 des personnes qui ont reçu la deuxième dose. Mais nous voyons le débit de deuxième dose augmente de façon importante d'ici les prochaines semaines et ceci va augmenter beaucoup. Rappelez-vous que pour rentrer au stade 2, il fallait qu'on ait à 20 deuxième dose et 25 pour rentrer au étape 3, mais je crois que d'ici fin août, on va être rendu à 75-80 de doses. Donc, ça c'est des bonnes nouvelles. Il faut dire aussi que nous avons reçu de bonnes nouvelles la fin de semaine, qu'on va recevoir beaucoup plus de vaccins, surtout les prochains mois. Donc, on a ajouté déjà, on a eu des cliniques fixes pour les prochaines quelques semaines, mais nous avons ajouté 7 cliniques entre le 20 et le 28 juin. Donc, on va avoir un total, d'ici le 28 juin, on va avoir 27 cliniques en total. Donc, 7 sont nouveaux qu'on a ajoutés. Donc, les gens pourront prendre le rendez-vous à ce moment-là. Donc, découragez-vous pas, on va avoir la place pour vous. Et si vous n'avez pas votre première dose, allez prendre votre première dose. Et si vous avez besoin d'avoir votre deuxième dose, vous allez avoir votre deuxième dose aussi. Prendre votre rendez-vous. Je crois qu'à un moment donné, l'éligibilité pour avancer la deuxième dose il va y avoir une expansion d'ici une semaine, mais on attend l'annonce du gouvernement. Ça, c'est des bonnes nouvelles. L'autre nouveauté qu'on va avoir, c'est qu'on pourra changer soit Moderna ou Pfizer. Donc, par exemple, si quelqu'un a reçu le Pfizer pour première dose, on peut donner le Moderna et vice-versa. C'est effectivement les mêmes vaccins parce qu'on sont les mRNA vaccins que nous avons. Aussi, avec AstraZeneca, la deuxième dose pourrait être donnée entre 8 et 12 semaines. Ça, c'est de nouveau qu'on va avoir. Donc, ça, c'est des bonnes nouvelles. Il faut continuer dans ce sens avec nos vaccins, avec le débit de vaccins que nous avons. Nous allons continuer. Je suis convaincu qu'on va être capable d'avoir donné les vaccins, la série complète d'ici fin août. So that's it for now. I'm going to take I have some questions here. I just wanted to say in English that the interval that we have for between first and second dose right now, eligibility has decreased, but there will be moving forward within the next week or so. Likely, we're looking at the numbers, and now we're considering that opening eligibility for the second dose being earlier to everyone. But stay tuned. But at this point, it's just the individuals that are 70 and over, and those individuals that received their vaccine before April 19th. So I have some questions here. Will supply of AstraZeneca flow to pharmacies and other sites that provided the first dose? Yes, they will. And if not, there is the option now between the 8 to 12-week interval to receive either Moderna or Pfizer. And we have plenty of that in our pharmacies in our area. I've asked about additional clinics, and I did. I talked about those. We have a question about the status of any work the health unit is doing with local municipalities and sports organizations to ensure they are ready to begin sports and rec programming once they're allowed to do so. Yes, we are. We have a sports desk that is in constant communication. We don't have all the regulations for step 2 in terms of what there will be some team sports will be allowed in step 2, but we don't have the full regulations, but we are working with them with just basic ones moving forward. And that's it, Jenna.
Thank you, Dr. Paul. Merci. Our first question comes from Philip Blanchard, Morrisburg Leader. Please go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Paul. So your last question, which was one of the sent-in ones, I'm going to build off that one. Lisa MacLeod, Minister for Heritage, Tourism, and Sport and Culture Industries, announced a framework for the pro and semi-pro sports teams, but there's been no details about youth competitive or recreational sports. The minister's office said that, quote, it'll be coming in a couple of weeks. Do you have any insight if it's going to be different to the color-coded system or operate differently?
Yeah, what I'm sensing now, Philip, is first of all, that's elite, and so that's really the current ones that can open now are really, CHL, NHL, those type of things, the major junior OHL, those types of things. So that's one thing. Yes, I am anticipating that there will be some guidance documents in terms of physical distancing and so on, with sports, because don't forget there's going to be 2 steps, Philip. One is going to be outdoor sports, so the team sports will be allowed. I do suspect that they might start with a bit of cohorting and those type of things initially, and then loosen those as we get into the fall months. So that's for outdoor sports, and we're still waiting for the regulations. Our team is eager to see the regulations, but we're working on some presumptions. And then secondly, we're also eager to see what's going to happen for indoor activities. As you know, the indoor sporting and recreational activities will not occur until July, the end of July, if all goes well. The 3-week period. And I know that we've been already getting questions from rinks and arenas, like what can we do and what should we open our ice and those type of things. So we're anxious to get those as well. Either they will say we'll do 10-person initially as as we did outdoors, like you just can do training, 10 people on the ice, or they might go to full games. I'm not sure. And so I'm anxious to get some of those regulations out, see the regulations and see more details, but they're not available yet.
Okay, thank you. And the second one, it's about the variants of concern screening. Yeah. The province's screening for Delta variant doesn't seem to be very robust.
No.
Or detailed. Is there a reason for this? Is it more complicated, or is it?
Yeah, it's a bit more complicated. It's a different type of mutation. So what they do right now is there's an inference. So what they do is they take like they do a screen for mutations, and then they do what's called a whole genome sequencing. And then the ones that don't fulfill, they can't find with whole genome sequencing, WGS, they assume are the Delta. They're working on trying to do the whole genome sequencing, but they're not there yet. So for example, in our area, if you look at our VOCs, 100% of them are identifiable. So at this point, we don't have any Delta in our area, whereas we had one case a couple of weeks ago. So that's how they infer it. But they're just working on getting a more sophisticated genome sequencing for that particular one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Next question, Thomas Stockton, TVC 22. Please go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Paul. Can you hear me?
Sure I can.
Perfect. I have a couple questions regarding daycares. With daycares for school-age children reopening on June 29th, the Ministry of Ontario has deemed it fit that the kids will have to wear masks at all times, including outdoors. There are some parents voicing their concerns that their kids might fall victim to heat stroke or other heat and stress-related conditions. Where does the EOHU stand on loosening that specific restriction? And is this a case of the risk being greater than the reward, perhaps?
Okay. First of all, you're talking day camps, right? Not daycare? Day camps, right?
Yes. My apologies. Yes.
Okay. That's why it took me by surprise when you said daycare. That's something that we're going to have to balance. That's something we're going to have to look at. Obviously, I'm more concerned in the younger kids who are not vaccinated. We're going to have to balance that and work with our camps at the local level and be logical about it. Obviously, if you're going out and it's very hot with a mask and you're doing activities, we'll work with each individual camp to be able to see what we can do otherwise. We don't want people to collapse, with that, obviously. So we're going to keep that in mind.
And as a pediatrician yourself, Dr. Paul, what advice can you offer to the parents to prepare for their kids for the summer that's coming up ahead?
Well, the usual advice, obviously, which would be, making sure that they have insecticide and all that for outdoors, sunscreen and all that. Don't forget that's still there, even though we're in COVID, Lyme disease and all that. So that's one thing. The other thing, again, it would be to ensure that they follow the precautions there, not to send the kids when they're sick, and obviously to teach their kids, respiratory etiquette and those type of things. There will be, like I said, with the guidance, there's cohorts. They're going to be in groups. I would also recommend tell the kids stay within the group. Don't go beyond and those type of things. That's really what we'll be telling them. It's what we told them last year. Not much changes.
And just out of curiosity, asking for a friend actually, when are daycares? What's the plan for those in the upcoming months?
Daycares are opened,
Yep.
as you know, they're opened, and there's nothing else in that regard. There's nothing special happening with them. They're opened.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Next question, Bill Kingston, Cornwall Newswatch. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Dr. Paul.
Hey, Bill.
You talked about drugstores. You said that allocations are going to be ramped up for drugstores. Last week, you said there was about 40 local drugstores in the EOHU area giving shots, about 4,000 doses weekly, half Pfizer, half Moderna. Given that the allocations are increasing, are they just keeping it at the 40 drugstores?
No, they're keeping it at that. They're keeping it at that, but they're increasing their allocations.
Okay, so it'll be the same 40.
Yeah, because we reached out to all of them, and those are the ones that wanted to have it and were able to have cold chain and so on. So those are the usual ones that they have. There doesn't seem to be. It's the same pharmacies, bigger allocations. Let's put it this way.
A second question, you said 13 clinics coming up this week, 14 the following week, and then you said there are 7 additional. So does that mean
that includes 7 additional ones? That includes 7 additional ones. Yeah. Initially, we had about 20. Now we have 27 over the 2-week period.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And my final question was about the first and second doses. I noticed that you've added the percentage in each age group of what their dose. Your sister health unit, Leeds in Grenville, actually has the raw numbers of the number of people that have received first and second doses.
We're going to release those as well. It's just that our epi was off this week, so we're getting those as well, and we'll have percentage and numbers for both.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Next question. Prochaine question, Denis Babin, Radio-Canada. C'est à vous.
Bonjour, Dr. Paul.
Bonjour, Denis.
Vous venez d'en parler, la province a dévoilé un cadre de retour au jeu là, pour le sport professionnel. Parlez-moi justement de la pratique sportive pour les jeunes. Quand doit-on s'attendre justement à un plan de retour pour le sport jeunesse? OK.
Premièrement, actuellement, on pourra avoir l'entraînement pour le sport de jeunesse, l'extérieur seulement. L'étape 2, qui va commencer, je pense, dans 2 semaines, là, de vendredi, si tout va bien. À ce moment-là, on pourra avoir des jeux, on pourra des parties en équipe, pour soit soccer, football, tout qui est à l'extérieur. À ce moment-là, il y aurait des précautions à suivre. Et finalement, avec l'étape 3, qui va commencer, je pense, si tout va bien, ça va aller, je pense, le 25 ou le 23 juillet. À ce moment-là, les sports à l'intérieur, soit hockey, etc., qui se jouent à l'intérieur pourront recommencer. On n'est pas sûr encore les régulations. En effet, les règlements, soit qu'on va commencer à l'intérieur, disons qu'on va avoir la capacité d'avoir 10 joueurs sur la glace afin de s'entraîner, ou qu'on va commencer tout de suite avec les parties, les jeux ensemble. On n'est pas sûr encore, mais c'est sûr et certain que les sports récréatifs à l'intérieur vont commencer plus tard que ceux-là à l'extérieur.
Est-ce qu'on peut s'attendre justement à ce qu'il y ait des écoles de hockey, par exemple, cet été,
oui.
ou c'est un peu trop?
Il va y avoir des écoles de hockey qui vont commencer fin juillet, étape 3. Oui.
Merci beaucoup.
Pas de problème.
Next question, Natasha Wood, Nation Valley News. Please go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Ball.
Hi, Natasha.
So I've been reading about the Delta variant and the recent more apocalyptic symptom, which is mucormycosis, affectionately named the black fungus.
Yeah.
Is that possible? Is it possible that could come to Canada and be a factor?
That is very rare. Mucormycosis, has to do with weather and humidity and living conditions, and I doubt very much that we'll have that in Canada. That's that is a secondary infection, probably not only because the COVID weakens the immune system, but also because they're treating it with steroids as well, that further weakens the immune system. I doubt very much that we're going to get that in Canada.
Okay, that's really good news. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Do those joining by phone have questions? Press star 6 to unmute. Ceux qui se joignent par téléphone ont-ils des questions? Appuyez les touches étoile 6 pour désactiver le mode silencieux. Those are all the questions for today, Dr. Paul.
Thank you very much, everyone.